I'm so excited. I'm in the house of one of my oldest and dearest friends, Pinny Stieglitz, to show us the amazing books, Judaica, and treasures that he has in his own home. It's going to be great. Our series, Show and Tell, will take you inside some of the great libraries, both public and private, to explore books and treasures from Jewish history. Okay, take us a little bit. What are we looking at? What do we have over here?
So that is from Mantua around 1750, and it's a sumptuary law. It's
Sumptuary. What
sumptuary
on earth
law.
does
So
that
Cecil
mean?
Roth deals with this in one of
Okay.
his books. The Jews all over Europe, but especially in Italy, had to be very careful not to upset their neighbors with their ostentatious display of wealth.
Really?
So the city had to self-impose sumptuary laws on its own Jews.
Keep it low key.
To keep it low key. You couldn't wear...
The non-Jews imposed it on the Jewish community.
The Jews had to self-impose it.
Okay, so what were some of the rules?
No black velvet for people. They just couldn't wear black velvet.
Too glamorous.
Too glamorous. The amount of buckles on your shoe. The amount of people that you could invite to a simcha.
This is the original wedding takana.
This is the original wedding takana, and it's all in this sumptuary law here from Mantua.
And what year again is this?
Around 1750, 1775.
It's so funny. And we tried to do it again. It probably didn't work. Did people listen? Do we have any idea if people listened?
I think they did. Now, there's more to this than just the fear of, as they say in Yiddish, auszustechen de Augen, to tear out the eyes of the Gentiles.
Yeah.
We did. Besides that, people were spending so much more than they could afford. Does this sound?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
It does sound vaguely familiar. So they had to impose laws against gambling. People were were spending all their money on
like crypto traders now.
Yeah, and Yehuda Arya Modena wrote a book about gambling. He himself was a terrible gambler, inveterate gambler.
Yes, the Ari Noam.
Ari Noam is written maybe by him, probably by him. Anyway, so no silver buckles, no the amount of people invited to a wedding or a bar mitzvah. Also, depending on how much charity you give, is how much you can spend on one of these.
There was a parallel.
Yes, exactly. If you contributed
to
the community,
if you
exactly. So then they would allow you more guests.
Do we know the Rabbanim who were involved in assembling this together?
Unfortunately, I'm not lithe enough to get up and take that down right now. But there are the names on the bottom are the community leaders.
Are any of them still well known today? Or
I don't think so. I don't remember any famous rabbis.
Can you tell me what's right next to it? That map. It's a beautiful.
So that's actually something I went to someone's house about 30 years ago.
Okay.
And they didn't have any Hebrew books, or if there were Hebrew books, they were Siddurim.
Yeah.
But I said, "What's that?" And she said, "You could have it. I'm moving." That is a hand-drawn map of Israel, and it's not a realistic map. The person was not a cartographer, but he has it in layers. But there are pictures of Yerushalayim. There's pictures of the Batei Kfaros where Rabbi Akiva and Miron, and it's all on layers. So the bottom is probably the Mediterranean, and the top is like Lebanon. And
you know what year it's from?
Yeah, about 1890, and we know who did it. His name was Pinny. I'm serious.
That's part of why you like it. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Can you, maybe you could...
one more thing. This is the blood libel of Trent. And this is a etching, a contemporary etching, showing the Jews draining the blood from the little boy. And
why did they print this? Who printed this up? Jews or non-Jews?
Non-Jews.
Because they want to show the world. This is like,
and
show them what they're doing.
And you see he's wearing the Jew's hat. These are Jewish people around here, and they are literally draining the blood from this boy. Of course, we know now, we knew then that this was a libel, but these people believed it. Now Simon of Trent became a saint.
Where was this printed? Where was this disseminated? It's like in a newspaper, it's in a book?
This is in German. And I believe that Trent at the time might have been part of Germany. I'm not 100% sure. But because it's in northern Italy.
Sure.
And there are a lot of Germans there. So
it's kind of heartbreaking that you're...
So these names are Meyer, Vital, Chaim,
Yeah.
Grenta, all sorts.
They named the characters in the picture.
No, these are actual people who were then
Well, they
executed.
were libeling specific people.
And they were executed. And
They were killed
and I
because
believe,
of this accusation.
Yeah. It's a very famous.
It's kind of heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking. And this is not the first libel. This was a later
I'm curious,
libel.
why do you hang it on your wall?
For people to know that this is what
This
we
really took
endured.
place.
Yeah,
This is
this
what
is
we
not
took
a
place.
joke. Yeah.
Is this very valuable? I just have to ask.
You know, I don't think it's very valuable. I bought it on eBay. I spotted it, and I knew what it was. I had seen
How'd
the
you know it was
etching.
authentic?
I didn't know, but the way to know is usually to know who the seller is.
Uh-huh.
And he has a
He had-
cheskas namonos.
Okay, he had a presumption of
yes,
reliability.
Right. I bought other things from him, so I was confident. And you could see it's laid down paper and...
You have an eye for how to
you
spot,
could
spot
tell.
what's real.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Could you maybe, just
Sure.
before we sit down, a part of what I want to hear from you is like, what got you into collecting? Like, what got you into collecting? And I'd love to hear, because I grew up, you sat right behind me in shul. You would come to shul with a sefer, and I remember you always learn, and my father used to always tap me and nudge me and tell me, like, he knows a lot, this person. You and my dad were not close friends.
We were not. He actually helped save my life.
That's a different story. That I do know. That I do. That was later on.
That was later on.
But we weren't close friends, but my father, I remember, used to say, and he would always mention your father. Because I feel like
So that's my father.
That's what, yeah.
That's my father. That's him
So-
at his chassan's tish. And this is the Bluzhever Rebbe.
This is the Bluzhever Rebbe.
This is the Amshinover Rebbe.
Okay.
And this is the Radziner Rebbe. So he had
The Radziner Rebbe, like from
the Baal
Ishbitz?
from Ishbitz.
This is the Baal Tcheles?
No,
Is his
so
son?
he was the son of the Adam, of the son-in-law of the Radziner Rebbe.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is your father.
That's my dad.
Was he Hasidish, your father?
He was Hasidish born,
Yeah.
and in Shanghai he still had a beard.
Okay.
But on the way over to the U.S., he shaved it and he never put it back. He never grew a beard again. He was a modern thinking man, but he was a Talmud Chacham.
Did he continue learning his entire
His
life?
whole life. He gave a daf shir for 3 cycles.
And I feel like for you, like your initial love of learning and books and all this
came from him,
your father.
Yes, and but my initial connection to rare books actually came from my mother's father, who had a Rambam, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes, and he promised it to me for my bar mitzvah. And
when you were 13.
When I was 13.
And that's where the fascination began.
But he didn't give it to me until he came back from Israel to go into a nursing home, and this was his treasure, and he gave it to me.
And that was
like
the initial love.
That was the initial contact with a rare book. I really hadn't seen many before that. I had a lot of scholarly books.
And how old were you when you finally got that Rambam?
I think I was about 35 or 40.
So this was a midlife love.
Midlife, yes. It started only 30 years ago. Yeah.
That you started to really immerse yourself in the world of Jewish books.
Let's use the word obsessed.